Yeah, well, the thing is, you can make a flute out of anything. You can make a flute out of any piece of wood, out of any piece of metal, out of PVC pipe. You can make a flute out of a carrot. Some of the earliest flutes that we have that are in museum collections were made of bare bone, tens of thousands of years old. So, the Western classical flute is just one manifestation of what is really an ancient instrument. So I look at flute playing and the practice of just trying to be a better flute player as a practice of discovery of what these earliest traditions were. We have some of the earliest musical traditions in our history as flute players. And so while we can never hear what that music sounded like, we can imagine it. I love to talk to flute players from other areas of the world who play other kinds of flutes. I mean, I've got a collection of clay flutes and bamboo flutes and, flutes from Africa, flutes from the Middle East. And I'm a beginner essentially on those instruments because often the way that you play them is very, very different from the flutes that I was taught on. But I'm fascinated by them and I collect them whenever I can. This is why I have so many different flutes and why I'm so fascinated by also the storytelling aspect of what putting together a concert as a flute player is. And, to me, it's not so interesting to hear the same timbre, the same flute for an hour or even for half an hour. I think it's so much more interesting to hear a very, very low flute and then hear a very high flute, hear a wooden flute, hear a clay flute, and be able to imagine what some of these ancient traditions might have sounded like. And that's a large part of what draws me to contemporary music, is a fascination with what I don't know, what can only be imagined, and it can only be created and thought of as a future being. That's really exciting to me. It's always humbling and thrilling.